Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hyperconscious Podcast. Alan, what is hyperconscious?
Once you understand why something is the way that it is, now you have the power to change it. Great conversations with great people and great questions are the keys to the kingdom of unlocking your consciousness.
Every single action that you do starts as a thought. When you control the way you think, you will control the way you act, and you will control the way you live. That is hyperconscious. Geographically. This is cool. So I would say make sure that pretty face is showing.
Yes, true.
They're going to want to see that thing. They're going to want to see that thing, Alan. That face. You good? Ready? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of the Hyperconscious Podcast. We are at the Top Notch Scholars headquarters in Lawrence, Mass, with the one and only Joanna De Pena. How are you doing?
I'm doing fabulous.
So we had you on episode number 19 a year ago almost, 11 months,
Yep.
Almost to the day. We're doing second rounds with guests because our guests are doing amazing things. You are doing amazing things. You are changing lives. And we wanted to sit down and pick your brain and see what you've learned and see how things are going.
Let's do it.
You want to start?
Yeah.
I know
So,
you're curious.
first and foremost, I wanted to say thank you. You had me into Top Notch Scholars to speak on fitness to your kids. And for everyone out there, Top Notch Scholars really are top notch. They were so engaged. They asked me so many questions. I ended up going way over in time. And
Go
they're
figure.
so excited to get better. And I think that's my favorite thing because you create that culture here. You also finished your book recently. We wanted to talk about that. Do you want to start there?
Yeah. So I dropped my first book ever. It's called Success Shield, and it is a book to protect your mind, career, and destiny in order for the person to reach their fullest potential in personal success. The book is geared towards high school and college students, and I share my strategies on how I got to my A-game level, starting at the age of 9. So it's wonderful to share my story, to share my struggles, but to share also how I got to where I am today. And I share tangible strategies on how to reach your goals, and it's really exciting.
We're so proud of you.
Thank
It's
you.
amazing. So we were talking about this on the ride up here, and a year ago, or 11 months, whenever it was, when we sat down, things that you said you were trying to do or you had planned in the future have now come to fruition. So what is it like for you now that the things that you once dreamed of are happening? Obviously, you have more work, and we were talking about the fact that you don't ever sleep.
Never ending, man. Never ending.
Now you're having opportunities that you didn't, number one, expect to have.
No.
And number two, now you're growing into new roles, you're learning new things. So what is it like to take a look back a year ago and compare it to where you are now?
Well, honestly, I'm a firm believer that whatever you do it 100%. And there were some opportunities that I never expected, such as teaching a college course. I did graduate with my master's degree in May 2017. And so from there, right, I received an opportunity to teach college classes to high school kids. Is this something that was in my realm? Did I think about doing that? No. But when the opportunity comes up, I'm a firm believer that when opportunities come up, you say yes. As long as it's lined up with what you're doing. So immediately when my connection offered me the opportunity to teach, even though it was never something that I thought that I would do, I did. And I took it. It started off with teaching a college class to our very own kids. I have 10 kids in the class. I'm teaching Psychology 101 to 10 high school students. And it's interesting because not only is it a great opportunity for them, right? But it's a great opportunity to see that I'm still in line with my mission. Our kids, after going through a leadership development academy, and we're always talking about chasing after opportunities, they're taking it. right? They're doing community service, they're working, but they're taking a college class. And to see them go through that, it's like, wow, opportunities never stop. And it's not just for me. Every time that I open a door, I'm seeing that it opens up doors to everyone around me, right? I'm teaching. Kids are getting free college classes in partnership with Urban College of Boston. It is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And the fact that it is not costing a dime for our kids, and they're able to gain 3 college credits. So when they finish with me, they can transfer these credits into whatever college they go to. Opportunities that don't exist on your day-to-day. So it's really beautiful that every time that opportunities open up for me, in fact, it's opening up for our kids. And I'm just trying to do that all day, every day. Whatever I do, I'm always trying to level up anyone around me. And who's around me? Our youth. So I'm really excited to be teaching. Not only am I teaching here at our headquarters at Top Notch, but I'm also teaching a college course at the prison in Middleton. Whoa, what an experience. I honestly, when the college had asked me to go there, I didn't say no. I said yes. It's a different population. I've never worked with this population. But again, I just never turned down any opportunity, and I've been doing it. And it has been very, very interesting to be working with 6 young men that are detained. And so it's just mind-blowing.
I love it. So you just said at the beginning of that when opportunities come up, you jump on them. Oh, too low? Kevin's saying I'm too low. So opportunities come up that you never could have anticipated. Mm-hmm. So in the preamble, we were talking, and you mentioned that Oprah is coming to UMass Lowell.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of jumping on opportunities, Kevin and I just booked tickets while in this room to go see Oprah on the 15th of November.
Yes.
So we talk about why power a lot. And the bigger your dreams you have, it's going to force you to get into rooms with exceptional people who are doing exceptional things. And then opportunities you normally would not have had are going to come your way, and then you're going to either jump on them or not. Mm-hmm. And so, like, our mission brought us together, the podcast plus what you're doing, and then that opportunity, that door was there to go with you to go see Oprah, and we opened it. And that's just a testament to everything we say on this podcast, which is you have to have big dreams because they're going to force you to embark on an epic journey that you normally wouldn't have had otherwise. Can you talk a little bit about what your vision was back when you first started? Because last time we were here, you came over and you dropped like a block with $1 million bill in it. And
it's also my screensaver, by the way.
Love it.
See it every day.
On this podcast, I always say that you have to you will only ever grow in proportion to the size of your ambition. Mm-hmm. Kevin and I talked after you dropped that block on the table, and it was $1 million bill. And afterwards, I said, Kevin, that's why Joanna is Joanna. So can you talk a little bit about what your vision was versus what it's becoming? Because I know that educating these prisoners has expanded your vision of what could be.
Mm-hmm. Well, honestly, like you mentioned, you have to dream big, right? So for me, my dream is to help individuals, to help people, to help kids. You can't reach the amount of impact without a dream. So by me having that $1 million bill, yeah, it's great to have money. You need money to live, right? And although the goal is not necessarily to have the $1 million bill, but if I want to impact the way I want to impact, I got to have goals. And if you don't see your goal every day, you're not going to reach it. So not only do I see that goal on my desk, the block of the $1 million bill, but I see it every day on my phone. And in reaching these kids and not saying no to opportunities, every time you say yes to an opportunity, doors open. So I have to say yes all day, every day. And my vision with that $1 million bill is that I want to be in a place where if I have to go to El Salvador, Peru, Africa, to share my mission, nothing's going to stop me. But if I stay with the minimum salary, stuck at a job, behind a cubicle, how the heck can I make a difference? I have to dream big. Nothing's going to stop me. Nothing. So I have to be, if I don't have any other ways of means to financially support me, to go to these places or to reach any organization or school, I'm going to cover me. I got me. No one's going to stop me to share the mission, to share the values, to share the education that I have, to inspire and empower other people. Nothing's going to stop me. Therefore, I have to dream big, because you can't control life. You really can't. Only I can control me. So I have to make it big in order to dream big, but in order to impact big. So with or without sponsorships, with or without anyone supporting, I got me. But not only do I got me, God got me. Because I'm on that mission. I'm here on purpose. I'm here on purpose. And I'm just being intentional, covering all the corners, and that no matter what happens, I will have the capacity to make sure that I make a difference with or without anyone. And that's why I have to dream big. I have dreams that I want to go to third world countries, and I want to help, give, build, support. But I can't do that broke.
Yeah.
You got to make money. So, see, the money is not about, big cars, big house. That all comes. That all comes. You have to serve first.
Yep.
When you serve, money follows. So that's my mission. My mission is just to serve. Keep speaking, keep teaching, keep coaching, keep writing books, keep training, keep inspiring, keep empowering. The money will follow. And the more money that I make, the more impact that I can do with the funds that I create. And that's just it. You got to dream big, man. We have to I just got to make sure that I'm going to make it happen. And I'm not relying on nobody. No one's money, no one's anything. I'm going to make it happen because I have dreams. And that $1 million bill is just the first goal. Clearly, I'm going to make more. The more money I make, the more money, the more impact that I can make. If we want to build a house in Guatemala and start a school there, let's go. Mm-hmm. It's beyond speaking. It's beyond inspiring. It's beyond empowering. It's about just leaving this world a better place. So do you guys want to build schools?
Of course.
In other countries?
Absolutely.
Right? Speak, train on fitness, teach them how to eat, right? It's the bigger picture, but we can't do it broke.
Yeah.
That was... So I'm sure Alan will second this. You can tell that you've been speaking a lot.
Yeah.
It is unbelievable.
Yeah.
You're unbelievable, just so you know.
Thank you.
Powerful.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. What do you think of... So you are always doing something. You're always grinding. You're always working. You're always planning. You're always speaking. You're always studying. You're always learning. What do you think of when you get overwhelmed in those moments of like, wow, this was a long week, or next week's going to be a long week? I think a lot of people have big goals and they have big dreams, but they get so bogged down in chasing them that they forget to like give themselves a little motivation, a little pep talk. So when things get really hard for you, like what do you think of?
So I'm thinking about 2 days ago.
Okay.
Right? Because again, when people see us, grinding and just working hard, and they see all the success on social media, yeah, we are succeeding. Yeah, we are making moves. But I want people to also understand, and I think we covered that in the last episode, is that we also go through struggles. We also have our downtime. We also, hit the wall a million times. But 2 days ago, right? Now, my days are long. I wake up and I hit the floor running. Not until 10 o'clock at night, maybe 11, when I'm done with working with my kids. A kid might want to talk to me after class, and I have to stay for another hour or two. So I really just go home when I'm done speaking to my kids or coaching them or teaching them how to use an agenda, whatever it is. So I don't know what time I go home, but when I go home, and this is every day, you guys also know I'm doing my PhD, right? So when I go home and I'm like, crap, like I still have an assignment that's due tonight. And thank the Lord that my school, is Grand Canyon University, so I'm 3 hours ahead, right? So I still have some time to get my work done. This is not every assignment, but this is just specifically this week, because since I got back from Arizona doing my residency at school, it has been nonstop. So 2 days ago, it was about 12 o'clock at night, and Jenny was like, Joanna, just go to bed. I can't, I have this assignment due. Do you know that I had a migraine? And it's not like a regular headache where you can just pop up, an Advil too, and you're good. I don't get headaches. I think I'm super healthy. I never get any headaches. I don't take any pills. I stay away from all that good stuff, and I'm pretty healthy. But at least once a year, maybe two, I get this weird headache weird migraine where it's like a shock, right? And like I'm just like sitting down and I'll just like get a shock and I'm like, right? And it happens like every like 30-second intervals. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna do my homework. And it's like I had a paper due, 1,250 words. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna work through this weird, shocking migraine. I don't know what it is, right? I'm still trying to figure out what it is. I'm like, girl, I'll drink some more water. It's midnight, and I'm like, I'm gonna do it. And it kept happening. And I think that's my body saying, slow down. Slow down. So I literally, maybe an hour in, I didn't start my homework. And I'm just monitoring this migraine, this shocking feeling in my brain. And I'm just monitoring it. And I go, Johnny, I don't think I can do it. I'm gonna sleep on this. And so it was due that night. And unfortunately, I had to make a decision to not go on overdrive. Yeah. And I had to stop. And I closed my laptop and I went to bed. And I did it the next morning. But these are sacrifices that we have to do because I'm on overdrive 24/7. I got kids to take care of. I have people to inspire. I have programs that I have to run, right? The TV show internship on Monday. Tuesday is our college class. Wednesday is our Youth Leadership Academy that we just started this week, cohort 4. Thursday, Youth Leadership Academy cohort again, right? And Friday, Tuesdays and Fridays in the morning, I'm at the prison. So it's nonstop. And in between, it's not that I'm free. I'm working on something, whether if it's my homework, a grant, I'm emailing someone to meet up with them. I'm advocating for my organization. I'm trying to get funding. I'm working on the book. Right now we're on pre-sale mode, so we're selling pre-sales right now. The book should physically drop by Christmas. I dropped it in Florida, so it's like it's not free time. It's time that I have to work on my to-do list. But yeah, we hit the wall, and I hit it this week. So it's not all dandy. Oh my God, success. But it's like, yeah, like I do crash just like anybody. I'm human. So I have to take that moment and just stop. And sometimes, I have a homework due tonight, but guess what? I'm human. I'm not perfect. I may lose 10 points, but I still got an A in the class. So we're good, So those are the moments that I have to just pause and take care of me. Because if I'm not good, I can't take care of the world.
Yeah.
Oprah, I'm coming.
Love it.
I'm glad you shared that because, I'll let you.
No, go ahead.
But obviously, you and I know so everybody saw us in Arizona at Brendan Burchard's event, living it up, having these breakthroughs. But what they didn't see, some people did because we talked about it. But when we got home, we were dead.
Oh yeah.
Like to the point where there was days, for a couple days, I just stayed in bed. I was mentally just.
I have those days too. I'm just turn off my phone.
That you're transparent about the fact that, like, of course, everything is going and things are going great, but we still all have those moments of downtime. And give yourself a little break. You'll know if you're cheating yourself, but it is necessary to take some rest and relaxation along the way.
It is. It absolutely is.
I'm gonna do a little live here.
I love it. One of the things that Kevin and I talk about a lot these days is sustainability. And for the listeners, the reason why that is because all the listeners out there, you're hearing Joanna talk about all these incredible things. You're so busy. You might be one of the most ambitious, productive human beings I've ever met. And it's like when you are Kevin's live. What up?
Hey.
Yeah. When you are operating at that level, the question no longer becomes how do I take action? The question becomes how do I sustain this action and how do I maximize self-care, exactly. How do I make sure that I'm doing pit stops to change the tires and to change the oil to make sure that I can maximize my long-term vision? One of the things that I wanted to ask you in particular was how do you have this huge vision and you just shared that with us. Thank you so much. And it's only gotten bigger. Right, and you've got momentum for sure. Part of the reason we reached out to you to pick your brain is because we see you doing all these incredible things that are so inspiring. So you have a lot of people pulling at your time and attention. How do you choose the opportunities that are most congruent with your mission, and how do you say no to the things that maybe are not in alignment with who you are and who you aspire to be?
So I think that I never say no. It just might not happen today. Okay. So for me, I pick and choose what's important. Is it aligned with my nonprofit, Top Notch Scholars? Is it aligned with my speaking career? Is it aligned with my kids? Is it aligned with an opportunity that can help one of those missions. If it is not, I look at my next 2 weeks and I'll identify a lunchtime. I don't ever take away from time outside of lunch. If you are outside of those components, hey, let's meet for lunch. Why? Because this is a time that I have to take anyways. I'm gonna eat, so let's eat and talk. And that's what I've been doing lately.
Interesting.
I no longer. I used to, that open time that I was talking about, that I'm normally handling a to-do list item, right? I used to just say, hey, you know what? I'm free at 11. Come meet me. But then that just backtracks me, right? So I guess I would say in the past 6 to 8 months, I've been identifying only a slot of time in my day. And that is the only time that I allow someone that wants to pick my brain, someone that wants to talk to me about a program, someone that wants to talk to me about anything that has nothing to do with Top Notch or my speaking. But I do try to just keep it along those components because, like we were talking about earlier, if it's not in the mission, I don't want to entertain it, right? I might do a phone call and say, you know what, that is great. And I might refer them to an organization that is their mission, or another individual that would be more relevant to that topic. But I try not to, bombard my schedule because it is really tight.
Yeah.
My free time during my day is not free. I'm working on something on either of those components, Top Notch, my speaking, my book, my coaching, whatever it is. I'm sorry, if it's not that, let's do lunch.
Yeah.
If I can identify that it has something to do with that, then I will just do a quick phone call.
Okay.
And that's how I try to maximize my time.
Love it.
Yeah.
A lot of people might hear what you're saying and be like, wow, that sounds overwhelming. Or they'll see like
us. Yeah, literally.
they'll see us traveling and
Yeah.
doing what we're doing. And it's like, yeah, you got a lot going on, but it's in direct proportion to your dreams. Is it worth it? Because a lot of people are probably thinking like, I don't have anything that I would like to work that hard on. And that doesn't mean you're not a hard worker. That maybe means you just haven't found something that motivates you to work that hard. So when you lay your head on your pillow at night, like, is it worth it? Is it all worth it? Is all the work you're doing worth it?
Hell yeah. It is. It is, because I've identified my purpose. I've identified why I'm here. And everything that I'm doing circles, right? My kids, my speaking, my book, my impact, everything that I do circles. And so if there's a person out there that doesn't have or doesn't feel like they have a purpose or a plan, right? It's quite simple. And I talk about that in my book. You have to be intentional about your time. We only live once, right? So if you feel like you're going through your day-to-day just without a purpose, I always recommend people to take time out of your day and isolate yourself and really think about it. Because what happens is that people go day in and day out and just go and be stuck on routine. Wake up, go to work, go to bed, maybe the gym. All right. But people are not taking time for themselves and ask them a question, a really important question that I asked myself in 2011 when I was interning at Disney. What the heck do I want to do with my life? I'm about to graduate college in a year. What am I going to do? And I asked myself that question. And when I asked myself that question, it challenged me to really think about my future. And what do I see myself doing? Do I see myself behind a cubicle? Right? Because when you visualize yourself behind that cubicle, you get that feeling of maybe what it might be like. So it pushed me out of that. I X'd it out. I no longer want to be in that environment. Can I work at a bank? Yeah, I could be successful at a bank, but I just don't feel like I belong there. But the moment that I started to think about, I want to make a difference. I don't know how or what exactly, but I want to make a difference. That feeling that I got, I said, yes, that's what I want to do. And even though I did not have Top Notch Scholars or Top Notch Network, which was a company before that, right? Even though I didn't have the actual it excited me. So it excited me to the point that I might not know exactly what it is, but whatever I do, I'm going to work my ass off 100% and do things to make a difference. And that's where Top Notch Network came to fruition. And that was just impacting the community, creating positive events in the community. And that made me happy. But it wasn't until I was called to speak at a middle school. I was not a speaker at that point, right? I didn't like to be on stage. But I was pulled into this environment to speak to kids. But see, had I not been 100% at doing these events and making a difference in the community and going to college and graduating and you know, interning at Disney and doing all these great things, that wouldn't have led that person to bring me in. Because I'm always 100%. No matter what I did, day in and day out, I was 100%. Right? So because I was 100%, no matter what I was doing, going to making that difference in the community, I was brought in to speak. This leads to where I am today. So here I am speaking to this, you know, classroom, and I never spoke. I even had my points on the whiteboard that I wrote. Like I was not I was prepared, but you know, not as a speaker, right? You're just a person going in to speak to a classroom. So when I spoke at this class, I had 6 classrooms of 7th and 8th graders. And when I spoke about my experience and my struggles and how I overcame them and my strategies, and the eyes lit up of these kids,
Best feeling in the world.
at the end, the kids were raising their hands saying, Joanna, thank you so much for sharing your story and sharing your strategies and sharing your tips. Because of you, I want to follow my dream. Because of you, right? I never knew it was possible living in Lawrence. I never knew it was possible because my parents, you know, every parent is in a different situation. So when I started to hear these testimonies of these kids, like having an epiphany, a moment of like, you can actually accomplish whatever you want. When I was hearing that, I ran to my mentor, Dr. Lindsay, and I go, I found out what I want to do for the rest of my life. And that is inspiring and empowering young people that if they have a dream, they can do it because nothing in this world can stop you. But I also take that mission and I speak to young adults. I can go into corporate. I can move anyone. And that's been my mission, is to move and empower and show people the strategies, the steps to get from point A to point B. And that's why I'm studying in my PhD psychology, focusing on performance psychology. And what does that mean? Your performance. How can I get you from where you are right now to where you need to be? I can get you there. And that's what my PhD is on, because I'm learning. I'm just digging deeper in the psychology of the brain and what motivates people and all the components that take place and that is responsible for motivating, because it's beyond motivation. Motivation, you know, it's like a peak, right? But how do you sustain that? How, you know, motivation looks like this if there's no follow through. Yep. So I'm trying to figure out how can I not only just motivate you, which is what most, I guess, motivational speakers, I guess you could say, you know, that one time event, you know, it's beyond that one time event. My people, it is a disservice if we motivate someone and walk away to the next client or walk away to the next engagement, because people crash because they go back to their environment. So for all my motivational speakers out there, or, you know, if you're in this mission, it's more than just a one-time engagement. It takes more than just that 30-second, 1 hour, you know, motivation. How do you sustain that? And that's what I'm learning. That's what's setting myself apart. I'm an expert on how to take you from where you are to where you need to be. Not just a one time, which is what it's happening a lot. Yeah. The industry is just being saturated with people labeling themselves as motivational speakers. That's why I'm changing my title, right? Because
to what? Just curious.
Huh?
Do you know what you're changing your title
Leadership
to?
expert.
Love it. Okay.
Right? Peak performance expert.
Love it.
Student success retention. You name it. Because a motivational speaker is just becoming old.
Yeah.
You know, posting up pictures of one engagement. But how are you bringing these people to the next level? Do you understand what I'm doing in this classroom right here? It's beyond a motivational speaking engagement. Yeah,
of course it is.
I motivated them right in the beginning. But I am tangibly taking these kids to not just be motivated this one time, which is what we do when they come in. Yeah. We set goals. We measure. We talk about the big scope of consequences of their actions and behaviors. It's not just motivation. It's application.
I like that.
Right? Application leads to outcomes. Boy, if you're a speaker and you don't have outcomes, speaking for one day is not an outcome. right?
Yeah.
It's excitement. But the people that you're speaking to, what are they achieving? What are they achieving? I can tell you right now that everyone that I'm working with right now, whether if it's kids or my personal coaching clients, I can tell you where they are. I got kids who started with my program, right? They went through a TV show internship. They're in a college class. They've started an internship at an insurance company. Within 6 months of an unpaid internship, can you believe that they have transitioned into a paid job with a successful insurance company? And now they have opportunities that are endless because this company now has been growing, not just with us, but with this kid. And so by the time this kid hits 18 and graduates high school, do you just wrap your mind around that this kid has a job, an actual job. And this kid is learning about insurance and policies and real life stuff, not just motivation for a day, real life stuff. And you should see this kid glowing because he can actually see a path. And he never even knew that about the insurance world. He never knew about it. Is he perfect? No. Right? He had a meltdown the other day. Right? Because he didn't have an agenda. Right? And so we had a mentoring session. But long story short, maybe you want to ask me about that. But it goes back to knowing who you're serving.
Yeah.
I can go back and help that kid get back on track. That is outcome. That is what an outcome is. That is motivation sustained. Because he actually has a path to look at.
So now he has a greater purpose and he can see that and a path to actually get there. So if I'm one of your students and I see you doing your thing and you come in to a middle school, I'm a middle school student, and I'm like, oh my God, you're chasing your dreams. I want to chase my dreams, but I don't know what they are. What's the first thing you would do in this mentoring session? You and me are sitting down, I'm a kid. Like, what's the first thing you would do to get me to start creating a higher purpose?
Set goals.
Set goals is the
Set
first
goals.
thing.
I always work with the school or any organization that brings me in. And again, it's never a one-time session. I hate one-time sessions. Now, some schools have different budgets, right? But I always recommend you need to, touch a child's life more than once. I just can't come in here, and adults too, right?
Oh, totally.
Just can't go into a place and just do a one-time thing. What is your plan? What is your curriculum? I'm not going into places and just and winging it. Right? Oh, I have a topic and I'm just gonna motivate you on this topic and goodbye. No. There's a curriculum, man. What is your curriculum? What is your education? What is your message backed up upon? Is it your personal beliefs or is it research? Time in and around, I always see people teaching something upon a compilation of motivational videos and trainings, and they come together and they try to teach something. Where are you getting your information from? Right? So it's about not just teaching, but having a plan. And so anyways, when you go back to that school, again, I have my system, right? And I'll just share this. My system includes longevity. It's longevity. I will not go into a place unless if they want me to come in and do a quick, motivation kickoff, right? I'll do it. That's fine. But you got to have a plan and a follow through.
Of course.
Because if I go in and motivate and walk away, that's a disservice.
Yeah.
It's a disservice. But the first thing I will say to any kid, you got to have goals. And that's one of the things that we work on. It's pretty beautiful. Actually, I can share that the last cohort that finished in July, one of the things that we focus on is goal setting. 95% of our kids that finished cohort 3 has accomplished their 3 goals that we've identified in the beginning. They have to come up with 3 goals. And by the end of the time that I give them, they have to complete it. I monitor and measure. I kick them in the behind sometimes, right? If they're not doing nothing.
How do you measure? What are the metrics? Because I love that because I have, as you know, one-on-one fitness clients, and I'm with you, like seeing what can happen when you sustain coaching or mentoring over time, like seeing like the power of weekly check-ins, understanding what are your wins, losses, bottlenecks, and refocus. We do that a mastermind with Eddie
Yes.
Pinero. He was on the podcast,
Big
and
Eddie.
we every Thursday at 8 a.m., which is too early. No, I'm kidding. We do a mastermind where we do wins, losses, bottlenecks, and refocus. So for you, how do you measure? Okay, a kid has 3 goals, and I actually have 2 questions. So the first is, how do you figure out, you ask, okay, we do goals. How do you figure out how to help them create their own goals when they have no idea why they're here or what they want to do? So that's question 1. And then number 2 is, how do you sustain that in terms of like measuring it?
So when our kids create goals, and I'll try to give, it's a long conversation, right? There's a lot that goes into it, but the 2 things that I focus on, right? Because I have a whole system that these kids like literally go through, right? But I'll focus on 2 out of the many the many steps that I have. The first one is obviously identifying the goal, and the second thing is, one of the things I think that helps us be very successful is that we don't do it for them, right? We facilitate. We were talking about earlier facilitating.
Oh yeah, totally.
Right, because the thing is that if you teach a kid or anyone, if you teach them how to do it. Right? Meaning if I hold your hand throughout the whole way, that they're not going to learn.
Yeah.
So I ask them questions to extract their answers. And that's how they actually learn in a meaningful way, by them doing it themselves. So I don't say, okay, guys, let's create a goal, and this is what you do next, and this is what you do. No, I ask them questions. And then I share the bigger picture. But the first thing that I do is, when they identify a goal, is, what's next? What do you think is next?
Love it.
I don't tell them what to do, because when you tell someone what to do, it doesn't register. The process doesn't register.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when
and then what happens when you're not there later on?
Exactly.
You're not empowered.
That's what I've learned through research.
Interesting.
You don't register when you're being told what to do. Hence why a lot of students don't register in the school when they're being taught science or whatever, right?
Yeah.
That's why note-taking is important. That's why peer reading is important. That's why doing presentations is important, so you can reflect back what you've learned.
Yeah.
Right? So I have the kid tell me what they think they should do.
So you just hold space, judgment-free, and let them wheels turning?
And then I guide them. According to what they say, I guide them.
Yeah.
And then when we together, we create a path. Together, we create a path. So the first thing that I mentioned is identifying, but also letting them, pave their own path. And then I facilitate. The second thing is outcomes, is completion. That's the one thing, and creating that deadline. There's no goal. A goal does not exist if you don't have a deadline. So I give them a deadline. So when you do the weekly check-in, hey, do you know what's coming up? You have 4 weeks left. You have 3 weeks left. So it gives them the bigger picture perspective. And that subtle pressure. This is life. This is what real life is, right? And so by checking in with them, then there's some examples where I go week 1, week 2, and week 3, and they're just with their head down. They're like, I haven't done anything. So then I pause and I go, you haven't done anything? I go, your habits right now will reflect your habits when you're an adult. If you don't do anything about your goals right now, thank God we're 15, 16, because I can at least open your eyes and open your mindset and show you what's going to happen. I'm predicting your future. So a lot of what makes this different and what makes me, unique is that I not only teach and educate, I share the bigger picture, the consequence. I let them experience life in the future right now. So when that kid, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, how do you do that?
Yeah.
That's
so when
huge.
that kid, right, that week 1, week 2, week 3 has not done anything, which is what we predict, right? They're kids.
Yep.
I let them go week 1, week 2, and by week 3, I said, and then I explained how their habits will equal their future. And I said, if you're not completing your goals right now, how do you expect to get here? How do you expect to achieve this goal? I don't punish them. I don't make them feel bad. I challenge them to look at their habits. And then they realize, like, oh crap, like I have to get up and do something. And then we refocus, and we will repave the path on how they can get there. If they struggle, because a lot of kids don't know. They don't know how to get from point A to point B. So when they get to that point, I said, all right, well, what's next? If it's a job that they want to apply for. I have this one example. This girl was 15. She was 15 years old, and a lot of places don't hire at 15, only supermarkets, but they weren't hiring. And this is the example that I'm telling you. Week 1, week 2, week 3, hasn't done anything, hasn't no progress on getting a job. And this is the beautiful story. And I'm watching her, because you have to let them feel what they're feeling. And then one class, we were doing our check-ins, and I said, hey, so-and-so, what's your progress? Nothing, man. I'm never going to get hired. I go, why? Because of my age. She has a little attitude. Because of my age. No one hires 15-year-olds. And, this organization, they're not hiring.
Limiting belief.
Limiting way before she tried.
That's what limiting beliefs are. Reasons not to try.
Yeah. So I go, okay, but come on, man. We know that ice cream places they're in summer. Ice cream places hire 15-year-olds. Have you tried that? I've tried everywhere. Okay. How about so-and-so? How about so-and-so? She tried. All right. So long story short, we had a hiking trip with our group. And we were buying Subway on Jackson Street. And there's an ice cream place next door. And this was one of the places that as a group, we've identified that hires 15-year-olds. And I go, hey. And we were parked right in front of the ice cream spot. I go, hey, have you tried? And she goes, they're not going to hire. So we walked up to the ice cream place, and there's a sign that says, hiring now. High school kids. Text this number. And I go, you see that? I took a picture of it, and I texted it to her. I go, I want you to apply and just try. I don't know if they're hiring 15-year-olds, but I've heard they have in the past. Why don't you try? They're not going to hire me. They're not going to have the opportunity to hire my age. Just do it. Can you believe that I had suggested for her to text the number, and within a day or two, she texted me back, Joanna, I have an interview. Oh, you see what happens when you actually follow through on the places that people recommend you to try beyond your personal belief. So within days, she had the interview, right? She had her resume ready. We met up, coached, right? Prepped her. She went in, she killed it, and she was hired. That one person who thought, there's no one hiring, there's no one hiring, there's no one hiring. The class gave her options of where to apply, one of them being that ice cream place. And up until that day, she didn't, attempt to reach out and figure out. You could walk there, you could take a taxi, you can call. But you got to let the kid understand that if they don't get up and do the action necessary to complete that goal, it's not going to be accomplished. And all we can do is facilitate the learning, facilitate the experience. We went there, we saw the sign, hey, just try. Just try.
I would consider that a little kick in the butt, but in the right direction. And it's not a bad thing. No. That's so good.
And you do a really good job of limiting the fear of failure. Like with you just said, like, it's okay if they don't hire you.
Right.
Yeah, who cares?
Right.
I think that's a big thing because so many people are afraid to fail.
Yeah.
Because they assume that's it. Oh, that's it. I failed. But it's, are you going to get up and do it again? And that's what I really appreciate about you. Have you ever had a time, like, can you give us a story of something that failed? Something like an experience with you that failed and you were just like, okay, didn't work, on to the next one. I'm sure you've had many of them.
Every month.
Every day.
Yeah, every day, every week. I mean,
I think that's what people are afraid of. Like, I'm sure you've been told no just as many, probably more times than you've been told yes.
Yeah.
So what distinguishes that for you? What makes you know that, like, whatever, on to the next one. There's another opportunity. There's another grant. There's another scholarship.
That's literally where I would go, is that because we're so young as an organization, you're going to get no's. Right?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So there's times where I put together a kick-ass grant, submit it, and you don't get it. You don't get it. And it's like, I want everyone to understand that just because you get a no doesn't mean it's the end of the world.
Yeah.
You know how many other grants are available? So my perspective on, and people always say, John, you're always so happy. You know, whether you're failing or succeeding, like you're just, every day I see you, you always have you got a smile on your face. You're always kicking butt. Like, why are you so happy? How are you so happy? No matter what tribulations you might experience. And it's easy. It really is. If you can actually apply this thought. And it is the fact that look at the bigger picture. Yes, I might get that no for that grant. Not the end of the world. I know, bigger picture, that all that means is that I have to continue kicking butt because maybe the organization is not ready. Maybe we're too young. Maybe the board at the foundation wants to see a year or two more before they give me $100,000 in one spot. That's all it means. That's all it means. And that was actually the example. It was $100,000. It was last year, and we were like 2 years in as a nonprofit, and I get it. It's $100,000. And so for an organization to give $100,000 to a company, they might want to see a year or two more of returns, taxes, to see how you manage your money and how you distribute the funds. That's all. It doesn't mean that we're not great. It doesn't mean that we're not good enough. It just means that we're not ready. And I get it because everything that has been happening to us happens on its own time. So I am always happy because I just know it's not the right time. It's not the right time. And I get it. A lot of the grants that we have received, it's like, I got it. It's the right time. Right now, we're applying right now for it. And I expect to get...
Let's go.
And let's go, right?
Yep.
Because within a year, we have accomplished so much. And we, Top Notch Scholars as an organization, has been over-exceeding outcomes, has been over-exceeding services and impact than what we've promised. So that'll show funders and foundations and corporate donors that, wow, like you give this organization this much money and they're serving way over than what they're saying.
Your money's going to be well invested.
Exactly.
Into real impact.
And that's why I'm always happy because a no doesn't mean you're not good enough. A no just means keep moving, go for the next opportunity, and just keep grinding. Because at the end of the day, whatever opportunity opens up, that's what it's meant to be.
I love that.
Right?
If every time something didn't go well on the podcast, Kevin and I quit, we would have quit after the first episode.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
you can't really take it personal. Like when people say no, and obviously it's easier for me to say this right now.
Yeah.
But you can't really take it personally. You have to understand that it is what it is. If me spinning my tires and freaking out over it is taking time away from me getting after it on the next scholarship or grant or opportunity. So that was great.
If I can just share, right? But same thing with success, right? So with failures, you might get no's and, you got to keep your head up and keep pushing, keep grinding because you never know who's watching, right? But same thing with success. I want to share, and I'm sure you guys saw clearly, Microsoft.
oh, yeah.
Had I given up on Top Notch a year, 2 or 3 ago when I was starting up, we would have never had the opportunity that we have today, and that is having a forever relationship with Microsoft Corporation. Like, is this real?
I know, right?
Did this really happen?
I saw that video.
Right?
So
Like,
good.
Yes.
Microsoft loves us,
Oh, they do.
right?
As they should.
But talking about success, right? There was an opportunity to apply for some funding, and we went in just asking for. We went to Microsoft in Salem to asking for a couple $100 for a gala that we're having. Legit, like look at how life happens.
Right.
And this is why I'm always so optimistic, man. And that's because we were
Love the way she said that.
introduced to Microsoft just for a couple $100 for a gala. Hey, we want our food to be sponsored. We don't have much funds for this.
Yeah.
And we went in and we sat down with the store manager and we shared our mission and our organization, and she fell in love. So we had the opportunity to apply for this funding. And we didn't think much of it. And so she asked us, what do you guys need right now? And at the moment, we needed a van. Why? Because we have at least 15 kids, at max 50 plus, and we had no vehicle. So whether, at that point, we couldn't do college tours, right, successfully. We couldn't go to visit an employer for a site visit. We couldn't do much. And if we did, we were in 5 different cars. Liability, don't do it. But we had to. You know what? Because nothing's going to stop me from giving a kid an opportunity. So people, fund us so we can have multiple vans and not have to go through, risks. Come on, man. So we talked to our kids and said, man, what do you guys think that... So we left and we talked to our kids. We had class today. What do you think we need? A van. So we went back with our kids, and there was an opportunity to share our pitch. We want a van so we can go on college tours and visit, companies so they can get the experience of what does it look like being an engineer? What does it look like to be at a science lab, at a hospital? Giving these kids a real exposure on these careers that are not discussed in the education system at schools. They are not getting that exposure. So we are. Long story short, we went in. We were about 17 deep, and us, and we shared our pitch. And within like a month or so, we got a call from Microsoft telling me that we got the van. But not only did we get the van, but we got $2,500, 10 computers, and a lifetime relationship. All right. And they were so sneaky about it. They were like, oh, don't tell them.
Yeah.
Come to the Microsoft store and
Yeah.
it's going to be a surprise. So I actually had to tell our kids that we didn't get it.
Oh, no kidding.
I said, yeah, we didn't get it, but they got something for us, maybe. And they were like, what? Like lanyards and like pens? They were so funny. So long story short, 6 cars deep, we shot up there, and they had the van ready. And it was just beautiful to see the kids now being, they were excited, for the opportunities that now that they can actually experience bigger things beyond the classroom, right? And that's what happens. Had you given up, had I given up, had I felt like, oh my God, one no for a grant or one no for an opportunity, if I would have just shut down, how about pitching a van and getting not just a van, but some funding and some computers for our office. But not only that, but that led to a lifetime of a partnership. But get this last thing, this happened in December. In May of this year, they surprised us again because they're seeing what we're doing with the kids. Tangible leadership, tangible outcomes. They said, Joanna, we want to run a coding workshop. Like, okay, coding is not what we do, but I'm sure our kids would want to attend a coding workshp, right?
Yeah.
So the kids were now mind
Very
you,
important skill.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. But again, stick to what you do.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
That's how you grow.
Yeah.
So I pitched it to our kids, and they know our services. That they're like, coding. Like, what? I'm like, just come. I had no idea what was happening. Microsoft surprised our kids. We set up the classroom. There was a random robot that they were, they fooled me. Let me tell you, I had no idea that they were doing this. And then as the class was starting, they set up cameras, right? And I'm like, cameras? Why? And they said, oh yeah, because we want to capture the expression of the kids when they go through the workshop, so enlightenment or laughter. I'm like, sure. Didn't think nothing of it. So as they started the workshop, the door just barged open and Microsoft came through again for our kids. They came through with bags of Microsoft Surface Pros for every single kid that was in the room. And they were so excited because these kids don't have the tools and the resources, at home. If they want to do homework, they're probably doing it at school or they're doing it somewhere else that's maybe uncomfortable. But now they have an actual resource that they can actually focus on their education without barriers. And so that's just a testimony on whatever you do it 150% plus, because opportunities will open. I never thought that I was going to go through this grant process. I never thought that they were going to choose us. And can I say one more thing?
Absolutely.
If you read the article, just Google Top-Notch Scholars and Microsoft. It blew me away to understand Top-Notch Scholars is 1 out of 5 organizations nationally that was picked for a big grant. So they gave a lot of they gave a lot of little ones.
Yeah.
Right? But if you read it, little old Top-Notch Scholars in Lawrence, Massachusetts, that is normally known as a city of a dam where crime happens and murders and high pregnancy rates and high school dropout rates. So when anyone thinks about Lawrence, it's like, don't go to Lawrence. But let me tell you, a lot of great things are happening in Lawrence.
Clearly. I want to bring to the listeners right now, I actually had, and I'm not going to name any names, but when I told people that I was coming to Lawrence to see you, and I was so excited to podcast with you for episode 19, by the way, I got a lot of that, a lot of that reputation. And it's like, what if that's not true anymore? What if that's turning around? Like, I just love what you're doing. And for the listeners too, like, a lot of people are talking about goals. You're just living it every single day. And I just am so inspired by you. You have no
I
idea.
was tearing up when you went. I don't know if you saw it. I was tearing up when you were like, when you went into that. Just do it. Like, just you motivated the shit out of me. I appreciate it.
Well, if you don't do it, other opportunities won't open.
It's
You
all
never know what's
connected.
behind that one
Right.
door.
Yeah.
It really all is connected. So, for instance, if we didn't podcast with you the first time, we wouldn't podcast with you now. We wouldn't be going to the Oprah event.
Exactly.
Oh
What
my
happens
goodness.
if
Wow.
we
Yeah.
meet Oprah? Like,
Exactly.
What if? Which
we
we're going to
will.
try to do.
when
We
we
might.
meet,
At
Who
some
knows?
point,
what
we
happens
will.
when we meet Oprah? But like, what if we didn't podcast with Terrence the first time? Terrence helped us out tremendously financially,
yeah.
getting us to Arizona. Then we wouldn't have gone to Brendan Burchard's event. We wouldn't have had Anthony Trucks on. We
Yep.
wouldn't have. It's like, again, you can't. What is the thing? You can't see the dots moving forward. You only connect. them
Oh
looking
yeah,
back or
the
something
Steve Jobs
like that.
quote: "You cannot connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards." So you have to
That's so
trust
true.
that the dots will connect.
It's so true.
Yeah.
And had you, fallen on your face and just stopped at
Right.
any of your failures, you would have never been here. Look
I-
at your growth. I mean, I'm super impressed
We
with the growth
appreciate that.
of your podcast.
We appreciate
Thank
that.
you. That's another thing too that we talked about in the preamble. One of the best preambles we've ever had. As a matter
Oh,
of
yeah.
fact, Kevin and I were in the bathroom taking a leak, and we were like, "I think that was the best preamble we've ever had." It's like, "Yeah, man. Like, all right, good. This will be a great rep."
Bathroom talk.
Yeah, exactly. We were talking about in the preamble how we see how much you've grown, and you see how much we've grown. It's a different
mind-blowing.
perspective, and it's a reminder of how much your work is paying off, because it's difficult to see it on the day to day. But then you translate that to 10 months later, and it's like, oh my goodness, like Joanna's on a whole nother level now. So the things we were talking about, thinking about, dreaming about. I remember you wrote on the whiteboard literally a picture of you on stage in front of an
Yeah,
audience, and then you
yes.
put that next to an actual photo of you on stage next to an
Yes,
audience.
that's on my Instagram.
It's it's on your Instagram. What's your handle for everybody?
At Joanna De Pena. First
Okay.
name, last name.
Perfect. We'll put it in the description.
Oh yeah.
So she literally drew out an image of her exact, from her mind, a thought in her mind, and then took a picture of that exact same thing in reality. Thoughts do
And that
become
happened
things
within a year.
within a year. Thoughts become things for people who will not quit, for people who go 110%. I love how all in you are. That's my favorite part about you, is how all in you are on serving kids. And for those of you who have listened to episode number 75, I read something called The Teddy Story that touches me so closely. And it's basically this story about a teacher who really believed in a kid and taught that kid that he could make a difference. And that kid also taught the teacher that he could make a difference. That's my biggest why, is like, you don't know the power of believing in someone early on. So the fact that you're taking all these kids, like Kevin and I was talking about this. What if we had a vision board at 14?
Oh yeah.
Like, can you imagine, if you're a listener out there, I don't care what age you are, maybe you are 14, but if you're 30 or 35 or 25, imagine if you met someone like Joanna when you were 14 years old and she had you setting goals, had you making a vision board, had you understanding the fundamentals of following through every day, had you understanding the power of mentors. Like, just imagine how much your life would be different right
The
now.
power of intentionality.
Right? Like, your life
Chapter
would
in
be
my book.
completely different. If I met you right now and I could go back in time and I'm a 14-year-old and you taught me this stuff, my whole life
For sure.
would be completely different. And to me, that's just everything. So I wanted to bring that to the listeners.
We were just talking. So I think you said that Amy did this. One of our listeners did this. She made an audio message of her beliefs now.
Yeah.
I am asking you guys, if you're listening to this right now, I think this is a great idea. Right now, as you're listening to this, actually listen to the rest of the episode. At the end of this episode, I want you to pull out your phone, pull out the audio app, and just tell yourself what you believe in. Tell yourself where you are now. Tell yourself where you want to be in a year. And then put forth the effort to do so. And then check back in a month. Check back in 6 months. Check back in a year and see how close you came. I don't think anybody does that.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody does that.
Very
so
rare.
I think we'll give Amy some credit on that because she came up with the idea.
Yeah.
So
She heard one of our episodes and then she was like, I think I'm going to do that, because we got to dissect episode
right.
1.
And most people don't get to do that.
Yeah, and they don't see the growth. Like, that was only 1 year ago.
1 year.
And we're completely different now. Like, we've grown so much.
And sometimes you need to look back in order to see how far you've come. So I'm coming up with a question that I want to ask when we have the second interview. So if anybody has heard this up to this point, they're going to know that, like, you're doing your thing. Like, what you're doing is your thing.
for
What does
sure.
it feel like to be living in your purpose?
Amazing. And that's what motivates me every day, because I know that every step that I take, every day that goes by, I am contributing to the bigger picture that I have, right? The bigger picture is, speaking, right? The bigger picture is making a difference. Tangibly helping people get from point A to point Z, not point A to point B. That's not that far,
love it.
man.
Interesting.
It's point
Piece
A
of
to
clip.
point Z. Point A to point Z, and everything that I do, is a contribution to that. So it motivates me through my tough time. It motivates me through when I'm feeling like, I just can't do it, or I'm just stuck, right? When I'm feeling stuck, when I feel like I have no more gas in the tank, I think about, I have to keep going. I have to keep going. And no matter how down and out I am, I'm still happy and I'm still excited.
Why do you have to keep going? I love it. I love that. I just want to bring to the listeners the fact that you have such a strong reason to keep going. So when you say that to yourself, I have to keep going, because we feel that way too.
Yeah.
Like, we have to do this.
It's
There's
bigger
no
than
choice.
us. It's
We
bigger than us.
drove 10 hours from 4 a.m. to Florida, from Jacksonville, Florida to Hollywood, Florida. It's 5 hours to there and 5 hours back just to podcast with Eddie Pinero. And like, people thought we were crazy. People think we're nuts. Like, why would you do that? You woke up at 4 a.m.? Like, yeah, whatever it takes. We have to do this because it's bigger than us. And we know that. What is when you say that to yourself, I have to do this, what's going through your head?
Honestly, I am a firm believer that this is my purpose in life. I feel so connected to the mission. I feel so connected. And I am also in a space where I can see that the need is real.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm not doing it, who's going to? Let's talk about the kids. If I'm not guiding these kids, if I'm not sharing the bigger picture, if I'm not teaching, training, coaching, guiding, mentoring these kids on the consequences, on what they should do versus what they shouldn't do, on this is why you should go to, this school versus this school. This is why you should, change your friends, change your circle. Why? Because that's toxic and it's going to derail you. All these different topics that I cover on a day-to-day basis, I have recognized day in and day out that they don't have that.
They don't.
Whether mom is working multiple jobs, whether mom or dad is incarcerated, whether mom and dad are great, but they don't have a relationship, because it happens all day, every day. You could have an amazing mom, an amazing dad, but for some reason, and that's actually was the talk that I had in Florida. I was speaking at a psychologist conference a week and a half ago. 400 people, right?
Hell yeah.
That was my talk, how to bridge the gap. I am able to help adults, parents, bridge the gap to their kid, or from teacher to student. If I am not able to bridge that, the world is going to continue to be a mess. Students will continue to get that guidance from their friends, to get guidance from the wrong people, to get guidance from a gang member, someone who has no values, friends that people that they think that are their real friends. They're getting guidance from the wrong places versus their parents. I need to help. I'm here to help expand their mind and change and shift their mindset. I need to shift their mindset, right, on why you should treat your parents as your number one mentor, on why you should see that your parents are your number one guide, on why your circle should not be your first source of answers. So I'm here to best equip our young people to make the right decisions to stay on track, right? The moment that they smoke marijuana, they drink, skip school, engage in risky behavior, right? They are not aligned with their goal. Their goal is over there. Their goal is over there. But I'm here to teach them the strategies, the skills, the values on why you should be the best version of you. And they're not hearing it from mom and dad, because kids think, mom and dad is so annoying. So if there's a disconnect in the home and a disconnect in school, because in schools they're not teaching this. So where are kids learning from?
Right.
Right here.
Yep.
And that's why I'm national.
For all the listeners right now who are going to think you're unbelievably motivated and you're absolutely incredible, and you are, it's that right there is why. I just want everyone to realize that how connected you are to the reason, the difference you're making, and the difference you insist on making. That is why you are who you
You
are.
almost have to be like obsessed with it to a degree.
You are obsessed with it,
Like
obviously.
you put pressure. You put so much pressure on yourself, but it's positive pressure.
Yeah.
It's not I have to get this done or my boss is gonna kick my ass. Or,
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
if
right.
I don't get to work on time, I'm not gonna have my parking spot. No, that's not what this is.
Yeah.
It's positive pressure to change the world, to change the youth, to change lives, and that's what you're doing. So.
Those were both from experience, weren't they?
Oh God! God, yeah.
You have to become obsessed with your purpose. You do. If you're not obsessed, it will not get you up from bed.
You'll love this. Speaking of Brendan Burchard's event, which I would argue we only got to go to. I wanted to say this before too. When you were talking about how it doesn't matter how many no's, that one yes we got at Microsoft made it all worth it. I just want to share this with you and the listeners too. I had reached out to Brendan several times. I had had a few conversations with him here and there. I had shared quotes from his book on my story so many times. Must have been my aunt introduced it. She coaches me every other Monday. She introduced me to him maybe a year ago. Obsessed with this man. His work is
Obsessed.
incredible. He's exactly. Yeah, interesting. I am. He touched me on the shoulder. I have yet to wash it. No, I'm kidding. But I had tried. It must have been 200 plus 300 times to try to reach out to Brendan. He invited us. VIP tickets to his event. So he gave me 3 tickets, and I invited Kevin and Terrence. And everything since then has just been compounding. What if I had given up on the 250th time? When the 251st time, Brendan reached out to me and said, "You got to come to my event. You got to come to my event." And he gave me tickets to go there. And then Terrence supported us financially to get there. Like, all of that happened because we never quit.
Never quit.
How you doing?
What's up?
Hey.
Jenny Alvarez is in the room, by the way. Episode number 45, if you want to meet her. And we are live right now, by the way.
So that was. We're coming up on over an hour now. So I don't know if you want to ask your last question.
I do. So I don't think that I asked this question the first time because I don't think I had started because that was when we first got together, Kevin.
You could not say it like that.
Yeah. Partnered up. I don't think there's a good way to say that. This is the question that I ask every guest now. We grow, we evolve, we change. That's a big part of what this whole episode has been about. I wear this True North around my necklace, around my neck, and it represents the North Star, which is unwavering, brightest star in the sky, never changes. It's a guide, right? We grow, we evolve, we change. I believe there's a part of us that never did change. What is that for you? What about you never changed?
My passion for my purpose. I mean, when I have aligned with my purpose and I recognize that this is the reason why I am alive, and I firmly believe that, my passion never changes. I'm so in love with the fact that I can actually make a tangible difference. And that has never changed. For me, if this is not what I'm doing, I'm not on. I don't feel energized. If I'm doing something else, I'm not energized. But the moment that I am in a position to make a difference, to help someone get from one point to another, when I see that smile, when I see that sense of relief, when I'm coaching someone or training someone, and they can actually see their bigger picture, it's not about me, it's about them. So when I'm able to facilitate and help them see their next steps, and now they're inspired, because now they actually see that, wow, like, it is actually possible, right? Because unfortunately, there's just a lack of personal belief. But if I'm able to change that focus and change that mindset and show them the way, then that's one thing that has never changed. And that is my passion for people, my passion to help people believe, recognize, push, grind, and not stop. And even if they fall, to understand that even if you fall, you got to get up. And keep knocking on those doors. Keep knocking on those doors, because you might not get a breakthrough tomorrow, next week, next month. It might happen in 6 months. It might happen in a year. It might happen in 2. But however long that process is until you get your breakthrough, until you figure out your purpose, until you figure out your passion, until however long that may take, give yourself 110%, 200%, 500% on whatever you do. Whatever you do. Don't give less than what you're supposed to be giving, because you never know who's watching. You never know what opportunities are lingering. It's a matter of one person that you meet and you have a conversation that they might know someone that knows someone that is relevant to what you're trying to do. An
That's
introduction.
how we met.
An introduction. A coffee, whatever. But if you give less than what you're supposed to give, then you're going to miss that opportunity. And you're going to continue to stay depressed, lost, unmotivated.
That was unbelievable. So that is how I met you. Saul Garcia, who I went to WPI with, saw me living in my purpose, doing my thing, speaking, fitness, all that stuff. And he saw you, and he had met you, and he connected us. So you were doing your thing. You had your
200%.
purpose. And we were both all in. And that is why we are now going to go see Oprah together.
And if I could just mention,
Of course.
right? I'm excited for Oprah. I don't know if you guys are excited, but I'm excited. I'm excited for not just the opportunity to see her, to learn from her, but I hope that we get to at least meet her, right? Maybe go to her press conference. But I would love to tell Oprah. Can I just tell? Can
Yeah,
I just
please,
Of course.
please.
Hammer it.
So I recently changed my glasses.
Yeah.
Right. I had Ray-Bans, because I was in for like the past 2 years, maybe 3 Ray-Ban, like the squares. I've been wearing that for a while, but I've been so inspired because I literally, and we always say about dreaming big, right? Just because I have a company, just because I'm doing my thing, I'm speaking, I'm coaching, doesn't mean that I'm done.
Oh, of course not.
Right. I literally see myself as the next Oprah. # Oprah. Right.
Love it.
At Oprah. I literally see her. I'm an avid follower of her, and I recently saw that she has new glasses, right? Because everyone's going from Ray-Bans to round glasses, right? But Oprah has these round glasses, right? And I'm like, I'm gonna get round glasses because you know what? I'm going to be speaking into existence. I am the next Oprah. Oprah, if you ever watch this, you are gonna see this, right? Right? You are going to know the Hyperconscious podcast because of this, all right? I just want to let you know that the world will be okay. When it is your time to retire, I got you. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to continue your work. I'm going to make sure that this world continues on a upward trajectory. I got this. So just to let you know, got this.
I
Love it.
that.
I love it.
Self-belief.
And we talk about the power of heroes, and that's amazing. Thank you for doing that.
So where can people, I know you said your book's in pre-sale.
Yes.
Where can
Yes.
they get that when it comes out? And anything else you want to plug?
Yeah, so they can email me. Right now we're doing pre-sales, joannadepena @gmail.com. I'll share the link as well. So yes, we are in pre-sale mode from now until December. And the book physically drops in December. So we're really, really excited. And my Instagram is @Joanna De Pena. And yeah.
Thank you so much. This has been
That was incredible.
Epic.
That was incredible.
epic.
We
Well,
appreciate
thank you
the hell out of
guys so much.
P.S. I want a signed copy of that
Of
book, which I have to
course,
ask
of
on air
course.
live because I
Of
want
course.
documentation that you said, of course. So
Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you took as much away. I'm sure you did. You dropped so much knowledge, so much inspiration, so much motivation. We're super grateful that you sat down with us and we had the opportunity to be around your positivity and all your love. Ladies and gentlemen, we will talk to you later.
have a good one.
Bye.
Keep growing.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for listening to another episode of the Hyperconscious Podcast.
Going hyper-conscious will absolutely change your life because if you understand why something is the way it is, now you have the power to change it. If you going hyper-conscious with us has changed your life in any way, please share this episode with one of your friends because the more people that go hyper-conscious, the better this world's going to be for everybody.
And if you would kindly leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, that would help us make more people hyperconscious, and we would be greatly appreciative.
Thank you.
Bye.